The answer to this question is yes. There are many psychological benefits of love your neighbor as yourself. Most of us are very familiar with this saying as the second commandment of the 10 Commandments given to Moses. However, most of us have not spent time in closely examining this as a guide to our behavior. What does it really mean? And does it still hold up to what we have learned in modern psychology of how we should conduct ourselves today? Can it lead to happiness, or can it be a source of difficulties? If we examine this phrase closely, we will find many nuggets of truth that, once revealed, can help us live better lives. We will talk about each of these in this video. Make sure you watch to the end of the video, since step 10 can change your life. 1. In our personal relationships with others, your own personal safety comes first. 2. Help others when you can. 3. You must first love yourself. 4th, improving your self-esteem is part of a positive approach to mental health. 5th, the importance to be able to give and receive. 6th, the importance of having a guide or a buddy to keep you on track. 7th, improved self-esteem leads to more successful romantic relationships. 8th, you can act from your true feelings without fearing disapproval from others. 9th, benefits of forgiving others. 10th, the benefits of adopting a practice to give out through your mind and your heart love and caring to others. We often wonder how we should treat other people, and it's not uncommon for us to ask the question, how will our behavior affect us and others? We do not want to put our safety at risk by being vulnerable to strangers. Common sense tells us that the way we treat others depends on the circumstances in which we encounter them. For example, if we're trying to meet someone through a dating service, we do not invite them into our new home on a first date. This is not what is meant by love your neighbor. So this is our first step in understanding this phrase. 1. Our own personal safety comes first. Our second point is that when we can help others, it's beneficial for us and for them to do so. We don't want to be cold and uncaring to people who are in real need and who we could easily help without endangering ourselves. If we know the people who live next door for 5 years and they need a ride to the drugstore for medicine since their car is in the shop, it makes sense for us to help them out. But before we go into the benefits of extending ourselves to others, let's talk about a very important aspect of loving our neighbors. You must first love yourself. This is our third takeaway from our topic. This is easy to say, but it is not always the easiest to do. Many times, it's the people who care for others the most who forget to take care of themselves, or do not realize that self-care is necessary before they begin to experience warning signs. Mothers with children are told if there's a shortage of oxygen on the airplane, that they should first put the oxygen mask on themselves before putting it on their children. Same for a lifeguard going after a drowning person. They must have the right equipment before attempting a rescue. Otherwise, they could drown too. Not only does the Bible talk about loving yourself, but many psychology experts also talk about the necessity of improving your self-esteem as part of a positive approach to better mental health. This is our fourth takeaway from our topic. Most therapists themselves now must have a therapist for themselves that acts as support for them. Many times in treatment, Therapists first address their clients' self-esteem issues because they know that it is absolutely necessary for them to see themselves in a positive light in order to begin to improve their psychological health. It is imperative to have a positive self-image to tackle challenging self-improvement goals, such as improving personal relationships. Another barrier to self-care that sometimes must be overcome is an internal block based on the idea that it is better to give than to receive. This can turn into a black and white thinking where one only identifies themselves as a giver and not a receiver. A healthier approach is to both be a giver and receiver. This is our fifth point. Does not make sense if everyone was giving and no one was receiving. That would just not work. You must have people giving and receiving. Sometimes you can keep people away by not being vulnerable, accepting their caring or help. This can spring from a fear of letting people in or allowing them to get closer and letting them to get to know you better. It is a way of keeping people at an arm's length and avoiding close friendships. Accepting that you have worth apart from what you do, your abilities and accomplishments can be a challenge for anyone. However, it's worth the effort to get to the point to see, feel, and know that you're great value by the fact of being an individual human being. You might find it very helpful to reach out to a religious or spiritual organization to adopt the belief that even flawed people deserve to be freed from their past. You can also be introduced to new ways of thinking about yourself through self-help books and seminars. However, a group of some type where you interact with other people or with a therapist is usually the best way to improve your self-esteem. Without having a guide to show you the way to a better self-image, people often end up with the same self-defeating attitudes and behaviors that they started out with. This is our sixth point, the importance of having a guide or a buddy to keep you on track. If you seek to establish a new sense of improved self-esteem, you will be able to do so if you truly have the motivation to do so. Just don't give up. You can ask a friend as a buddy to keep encouraging you. It will do you a world of good to pursue this because it could change your whole life for the better and give you the ability to be more loving toward yourself and your neighbor or others as well. Once you have a much better sense of yourself and you value yourself as a worthwhile human being, it is time to look at your relationship with others. This is the time you can begin to create relationships that are good for you and for them. So let's take a look at the closest relationships between men and women, that of boyfriend and girlfriend. Now that you can stand on your own 2 feet, you will be much more able to enter a relationship in a controlled manner. This is our seventh point. You are much better able to navigate successful romantic relationships if you have good self-esteem. You can establish what is important to you in a relationship, even writing it down. You will now be much less likely to compromise yourself and your values, and you will be able to proceed regardless of the actions and expectations of others. In a very real sense, you will have become your own person. No longer will you be tempted to please someone else and do something because you think it is expected of you, something that you will later regret. Now you will be able to identify your true feelings and act accordingly. This is our eighth takeaway of importance. You can act from your true feelings. And you will be able to establish boundaries with others and then keep those boundaries. This is helpful in preventing people from taking advantage of you. We know that people are not perfect and make mistakes. Having the ability to forgive others for their errors is also psychologically helpful and can help you maintain healthy relationships in the long run. An unwillingness to forgive often fosters a grudge that continues to grow inside you and in the end can make you miserable. On the other hand, the act of forgiving releases you from those negative feelings and your emotions become unblocked. This is our ninth important point, the benefits of forgiving others. It is important to understand that forgiving someone does not mean condoning their behavior, but you are releasing them from the expectation to be perfect, which more than likely you will need others to forgive you too. It is important, though, to know that you can constantly reassess your friendships. If someone keeps acting towards you in a hurtful way, you have no obligation to remain in a friendship with them. You can forgive them and then move on. Only people with very low self-esteem stay in relationships where they are constantly being mistreated. Research has shown that acting in a caring manner towards others outside our families is very good for everyone involved. You feel better for extending yourself to a neighbor or a friend in need, and they feel better because someone has reached out to them and given them a helping hand. Research has even shown that as an individual you could practice giving out love and concern for others through daily practice. For a specific period every day you can decide to give out love through others and your heart love to all people around the world, even to people you dislike and to specific people who you feel need extra love and kindness. This practice will also lead to you promoting love for yourself. You can do this by writing it down or through what some people would call prayer. The power of this practice to improve our daily lives as we increase our positive connections to others and people around the world cannot be underestimated. It holds great reward for our own well-being and contributes to a positive sense of self and of others. In addition, it's been documented that this practice does have the potential to affect others, even those who are far away from us. This has been shown in relation to prayer. This practice is our 10th giveaway. From this topic, hopefully this exploration of the benefits of loving your neighbor as yourself has been helpful to you. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos helping you improve your life and more. Soon you'll be able to check out the playlist of my top 10 videos about personal relationships. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Thank you.